the Taiwanese military opened fire on a Chinese drone that approached the Kinmen Islands on Monday, the first of its kind in the history of the Sino-Taiwan witticism. It is reported by European Truth, with reference to Taiwan News. According to the Kinmeng Defense Command, the drones, without exception, killed their overflights 3 times in the regions of Dadan, Erdan and Shiyu. After firing flares, the drones flew towards China. But later, another drone again took to the airspace over the closed waters of the Erdan Islands. Taiwanese troops issued a warning, but it wasn't until after the flare was fired that the drone took off. The day before, the Kinmen Defense Command said it would shoot down all China's unmanned aerial vehicles that are not discussed exhaustively. Tuesday's incident was the first time a Chinese drone had been opened fire. Beijing considers the island of Taiwan to be its sovereign territory, although the Chinese Communist Party has never controlled it. At the same time, the current Taipei authorities are in favor of the island's independence. The U.S. does not officially recognize Taiwan, but does not reveal its registration, economic or military. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit in early August was the highest-ranking U.S. official on the island in 25 years. China responded with large-scale military maneuvers around Taiwan with rocket launches and sanctions against Pelosi. The United States called the situation in Beijing tense. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken raises hope that Beijing will not create a crisis around Taiwan and that the escalation may manifest itself to unpredictable consequences, which no one, including China, needs. 12 days after Pelosi's visit, a new delegation from the U.S. Congress arrived on the island, after which there were other visits. British intelligence assessed the prospects for a Ukrainian counter-offensive in the south, given the cohesion of the forces that Russia has concentrated there. This, according to European Truth, is stated in the intelligence review of the British Ministry of Defence. Thus, British intelligence notes that on the morning of August 29, 2022, several brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine intensified shelling on the front lines in southern Ukraine, and Ukrainian long-range precision strikes continued to impede the replenishment of Russian troops. It is not yet possible to confirm the scale of Ukrainian achievements, the review says. However, intelligence notes that since the beginning of August, Russia has been making significant efforts to strengthen its forces on the western bank of the Dnieper in the Kherson region. The 49th Combined Arms Army of the Southern Military District was most likely reinforced with components from the 35th Combined Arms Army of the Eastern Military District. Most of the units around Kherson are probably understaffed and rely on fragile supply lines via ferry and pontoon bridges across the Dnieper. This integration of air defense units and the NVO testifies to a significant reorganization of Russian forces in Ukraine, the review says. According to British intelligence, there is a realistic possibility that the Russian army has moved towards the rationalization of several semi-independent operational commands that contributed to its poor performance at the beginning of the invasion. If Ukraine succeeds in launching lengthy offensive operations, the cohesion of this untested structure is likely to be a key factor in the sustainability of Russian defense in the south, British intelligence said. As reported, the White House has seen reports that Ukraine has launched a counter-offensive against Russian forces in the south, but does not want to comment on specific Ukrainian military operations. The armed forces of Ukraine destroyed the crossing of Russians across the Dnieper near the village of Lvovo in the Beryslavsky district of the Kherson region. Source: OK, South. Details: in addition, a number of samples of Russian equipment were destroyed. Anti-aircraft missile system S-300. 2 T-72 tanks. 11 MSTAB howitzers. 3 multiple launch rocket systems Grad and Uragan. Heavy flamethrower system Sonsepik. Self-propelled artillery mount Hyacinth S. Self-propelled artillery and mortar installation Nona S. 120 mm mobile mortar. Self-propelled howitzers Acacia and MSTAS. Anti-tank guided missile. 6 armored vehicles. 3 ammunition depots near Berislav, Visokopol, Antonovka. In total, we are talking about 30 units of equipment. 82 Russians were also liquidated. The final losses of the enemy are being reconnoitered. The Czech Republic transferred 72 Soviet-made tanks to Ukraine. In return, the country will receive 15 Leopard tanks from Germany. Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced this at a press conference in Prague, Ukrinform reports. According to Fiala, the Czech Republic and Germany agreed on compensation in the amount of 15 Leopard tanks to replace the combat vehicles that were transferred to Ukraine. Scholz noted that this step strengthened cooperation between the countries in the field of defense and recalled that Prague transferred 72 Soviet tanks to Ukraine. The Chancellor called Russia's war against Ukraine the biggest problem, and said that this is why Germany and the Czech Republic support Ukraine in the struggle for sovereignty, territorial integrity and freedom. On July 25, it became known that Ukraine received Poland's PT-91 Twardy main battle tanks. Earlier, Poland also gave Ukraine its T-72 tanks. On July 29, North Macedonia announced that it would transfer T-72 tanks to Ukraine free of charge. Scholz in the Czech Republic said that Ukraine will receive the most modern weapons from Germany in the coming weeks and months. The final agreement was reached in the talks on August 29, which Fiala called a big concrete step.